If you've always been the black sheep or the scapegoat in your family, you've probably spent your life feeling like you were the problem. You were the one who was too sensitive, too difficult, or the one who just couldn't fit in. But psychology suggests that in a dysfunctional family, the person labeled as the problem is often the healthiest person in the room. You weren't rejected because something was wrong with you. You were rejected because you reflected the things your family didn't want to face. Family systems theory refers to this person as the identified patient, but evolutionary biology has a different term for you, the evolutionary scout. You are the one nature designed to break the pattern. If you've spent years wondering why you never quite fit in, it's because you possess 10 rare psychological gifts that are a direct result of your survival. Before we explore these gifts, let's first understand the environment that shaped them. Being the black sheep isn't just about being different. It's about being the disruption. In psychology, we look at the family as a mobile structure with balancing parts. In a toxic or rigid family, the goal isn't growth. The goal is homeostasis, keeping things exactly the same. When you came along with your questions, your sensitivity, and your need for truth, you threatened that balance. You became the scapegoat not because you were bad, but because the family needed a vessel to dump their unresolved issues and trauma. You were the container for their shadow. While this caused deep wounds of abandonment and loneliness, it also forced your brain to develop in a completely unique way. Instead of developing the neural pathways of compliance, you developed the pathways of a cycle breaker. Now let's look at the 10 rare gifts you have because you refuse to fit in. The first gift you possess is an intolerance for cognitive dissonance. In many families, there's an unspoken rule that everything has to look perfect, even when it's not. Mom might be crying in the kitchen, dad might be angry, but everyone smiles at the dinner table as if everything is fine. This creates cognitive dissonance, a conflict between what you see and what you're told. Most children learn to suppress their reality to survive. They agree with the lie to stay safe. But not you. You are what psychologists call a truth teller. Your brain physically reacts to inauthenticity. When people are fake or when there's an elephant in the room, you feel it in your body. You might have been punished for speaking out or creating drama, but in reality, you were just pointing out what was really happening. This gift makes you immune to gaslighting as an adult. You can walk into any room and instantly know who is being real and who is hiding behind a mask. You're the canary in the coal mine. Seeing the truth is a superpower, but it doesn't explain why you feel the physical weight of your family's history. This leads to your second gift, being an ancestral alchemist. Research in epigenetics suggests trauma can be passed down through generations. The anxiety you feel, the heaviness in your chest, it may not have started with you. But the black sheep is the one who says, "This ends with me." You might be the first person in your family to go to therapy, read self-help books, or meditate. You volunteered to metabolize the pain your ancestors couldn't process. You're not just living your life. You're rewriting the genetic code for your lineage. You are transforming the lead of generational trauma into the gold of wisdom. This leads to your third gift, which was often framed as your greatest weakness, high sensory intelligence. You were probably told you were too sensitive or too emotional. But psychology links this to a trait called sensory processing sensitivity. Your nervous system takes in more data than the average person. In a chaotic family, this became overwhelming. You absorbed your mother's sadness, your father's anger, your siblings' jealousy. You became an emotional sponge. But here's the gift. You can read micro-expressions. You can sense a shift in the emotional temperature of a room before anyone else speaks. This isn't a disorder, it's an evolutionary advantage. In a tribe, the person with high sensory intelligence is the watchman, the one who senses the storm coming. Your sensitivity is a data collection system that makes you a powerful leader, healer, and friend. But sensitivity doesn't mean weakness. It often leads to a spine of steel. The fourth gift is justice sensitivity. If you were the black sheep, you likely have a visceral reaction to injustice. You can't stand to see the underdog bullied or unfairness in any form. This comes from being on the receiving end of power imbalances. You know what it's like to be voiceless. Research shows that people who experience early adversity often develop a high capacity for altruistic punishment, meaning you'll risk your own safety to stand up for what's right. When others look away to stay comfortable, you step in. You are the whistleblower, the advocate. You have a moral compass that points true north, even when the rest of the world is spinning. This drive for justice often leads to the fifth gift, reluctant leadership. In your family, you didn't set out to lead. You were just trying to survive. But because you thought for yourself, you developed autonomy. Most people are terrified of standing alone, so they follow bad leaders just to belong. But you've already survived the wilderness. You've been the outcast. This makes you incorruptible. You don't lead for power. You lead because you see a better way. You are what leadership experts call a transformational leader, someone who leads by example and authenticity rather than force. You don't need the validation of others because you've learned how to validate yourself. Gift number 6 is that you are a detector of hidden motives. When you were the scapegoat, you learned that words can be used as weapons or disguises. You discovered that "I love you" sometimes means "I want to control you." This led to the development of pattern recognition, your ability to see through people's masks. You listen to the tone, not just the words. You can detect the truth in people's intentions.